Hello, everyone. My name is Curie Smith, a senior at McKinley Technology High School and Biotechnology Academy. So, the title of my project is Global Warming in My Nematowns. As you can tell by the title, this is about global warming, climate change, specifically air pollution, related to nematodes, which are like worms and other species of such. So, here's my introduction. Climate change, global warming, air pollution are common labels applied to the toxic effects of heavy amounts of carbon dioxide, also known as CO2, and how I'll be referring it to, and other harmful pollutants in our countries, cities, and towns. These dangerous amounts of CO2, typically caused by vehicles, factories, natural emissions like volcanoes, or even cigarette smoke, have tremendous health effects on human health. And although many people suffer from the air pollution, especially those with respiratory problems, some do not know its true effects. And because of these deniers, to make these problems more obvious, I will be using a species of nematodes um, known as C. elegans, and they're known for its biological features that make environmental observation simple. And by simple, I mean when you put them under a microscope, they're easy to tell their behaviors from yesterday. Like yesterday, they're all squirmy, all fine, just eating, chilling. And the next day, they're brown and they're wiggling around and flipping over. So that's what I mean by simple observations. It's easy to tell the changes. These C. elegans will be placed in three environments: a controlled town with an average amount of CO2, average meaning like not too high, not too low, just like how it would normally be in like a rural town. Nicknamed Nematown for this experiment. An environment we're familiar with, which is Washington, D.C., nicknamed Wormington, D.C., and an environment known for its high levels of CO2, which is Beijing, China. Couldn't come up with a clever name for Beijing. So if you do come up with one right now, please comment it below so I can, think of it. Based on the species lifespan, physical features, and behavior, I will determine which environment has harmful amounts of CO2 compared to the others. This project seeks to warn citizens of the dangers of air pollutants and the effects of its toxins. So the methods of my experiment and how I'll be getting my data. In conclusion, so step one is to create an environment similar to each experimented city. Mimic the air quality of these real-life environments and apply it to the corresponding habitat. Then I will place the colonies of C. elegans into each environment. So, for example, if Beijing has a certain air quality index, that's usually common, usually like around like 70s, but that's pretty moderate. Then I will reciprocate that, like mimic that and put it into the habitat that I have it in, using like dry ice and other um forms of CO2. Um, and then step two is to record the behavior, lifespan, and physical features of the colonies every day for 15 days. So according to Hagani, who did research on C. elegans, their average lifespan is 15 days, and not that they all die off at 15 days, as you'll see in my results. It's just normal. Some die before, some die after. It's common just right after that mark. And then three is to conclude which environment had the most tremendous negative health effects on the colonies. And negative health effects will be them turning a certain color after a few days, turning black or a deeper pigmented color will mean that they're unhealthy or they're becoming in another stage. They usually develop into this stage after their environment's unsuitable for them or their diet is wrong. So that's how you can tell something's wrong with their health problems. So here are my results. One outcome is colony number one, Wilmington, D.C., which is Washington, D.C. Their amount of CO2 has the most tremendous negative health effects on the C. elegans. So, let me get my camera out of here. So, here you see that the colonies of C. elegans diminishes before, right at 12 days. All the C. elegans are dead already. Their their discolorment happens before 12 days and it peaks around 5 to 6 days, and so are their irregular movements patterns that show that they're having trouble living. Also, for the next few graphs, just know that DC is blue, Nematown will be green, and Beijing will be red. So our next one is our second outcome is Beijing, where Beijing's CO2 levels have the most tremendous effect on the C. elegans. Here, the C. elegans die before 10 days. They start to die very quickly because according to the research, as you see, according to the research, my research, they the air pollution levels in Beijing are way higher than DC and almost every any other city in the world. And so an environment there, C. elegans wouldn't really survive like that because of higher CO2 levels, and that environment is very unsuitable for this species. And so that's why they diminish quicker. And so as you see here, around 7 days are when their movement patterns will start to happen, so will the discoloration, and over time they just die quicker as well. And then here's the control, which is Nematown, with regular experiments. So if you look, around 7 days is when the irregular patterns start to happen. That's when they begin to suffer. Not that they die off quicker. They don't die quicker in this Nematown because this, according to the research, is almost impossible. And so Nematown, what it did diminish quicker than DC here, but Beijing, just the data and CO2 Beijing just outweighs Nematown and DC every time. So as you see here, Nematown, their population, if it was more tremendous health effects, that's just what's going to happen. Okay. So in conclusion, based on my previous research, outcome 3, Beijing, outweighs the others for the most tremendous negative health effects on C. elegans done by levels of carbon dioxide, followed by outcome 1, which is Washington, D.C., Wilmington, D.C. Beijing yields some of the highest levels of carbon dioxide in the world. Therefore, it is likely to have higher number of health effects on both C. elegans and humans. C. elegans diminish quickly in outcome 3, Beijing, due to its I'm going to say outcome 2, Beijing, due to its toxic amounts of carbon dioxide. According to Hagani's research, it is in unsuitable environments. C. elegans deaths can be brutal. So excessive mucus, exertive behaviors, like they're wiggling extremely hard, like if you put salt on a slug, and self-explosions, like they just combust. This like a gross little mucus explosion. Okay, I'm done. The runner-up, Wilmington, D.C., which is outcome 2. Outcome 1, why not mess up these outcomes? Anyways, is not too far from Beijing. Is use of vehicles that emit CO2 in many work areas that contribute to air pollution adds to the potential health risk as well. This research project's purpose is to bring awareness to the damage of air pollutants, and this will help others understand how our environments can also become unsafe because of our use of toxic chemicals and gases. And so, apart from just knowing that air pollutants, especially carbon dioxide, can be really bad for you in high amounts, this will also bring attention and awareness to using less things that will emit carbon dioxide, such as move to using bikes instead of driving to work every day, takes public transportation and electric vehicles, and also hopefully sooner or later our work factories and stuff can start to just emit less carbon dioxide and toxic waste and air pollution. So my works cited are below the discussion part of this presentation. And shout out to Dr. Schuster, who helped me with this experiment a lot, with the setting it up and also giving me the idea of naming it Nematowns. And also the Biotechnology Academy for providing me with the materials I needed to finish my project, or really start the project because of the pandemic. So yeah, if you have any questions or comments of how I can improve my presentation or do further research, or just comments in general, please leave them below. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any additional things you want to tell me. Thank you. Enjoy your day.